Okay, we're going to try this again.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for
Talk
being
about
patient.
dramatic effects.
Dramatic.
Yeah,
So
totally.
Where do we leave off?
we were going back to your grow. You were just approved for adult licensing?
Yeah. So just a couple of months ago, about a month ago, I got approved for my adult use at my Class C facility. This facility we've been working on for 3.5 years. We're kind of self-funded, and so we're generating our revenue as we can and trying to build out as we can. And so 3.5 years in the making. We finally got our adult use license here. We've got tags that we received today. And got clones started. So we're super excited about that. I also did get my adult use license for my existing grow facility, which is a small Class A, 500 plant count medical right now, but we're converting over to adult use there as we speak. We started to do that today with some plant tags and whatnot. And then just about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we got our medical processor's license as well. So we're working on figuring out the details on that, but we're going to be doing some live rosin, it looks like, and we're excited to bring that to the market here in the next several months. But making some progress. So definitely excited.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was like last year. It was. I remember it being cold, but I dropped off a golf club to you. Facilities, and it was in constructions. What facility was that?
That was the one that we're working on right now. That we're just now getting our adult use license. So it's a 14,000 square foot facility, and right now we just have the first 2 rooms, so a bedroom and a flower room. So that's 2 rooms, and we have a total of 8 that we're building out here. So we're going to continue to kind of grind and generate some revenue and get the rest of this facility built out. But the real nice thing is that we no longer are going to be running a deficit on this building every month for any longer after 3.5 years. Now we can start to, at least if we can break even and start to make money, then things will be a lot better for us. So we're super excited.
Heck yeah, that's really awesome to hear too.
Yeah.
What are some of like the key pieces that, like make sure that a business has longevity and is sustainable and to survive moments like that in a cannabis business?
It's a tough thing. People have said to me, and my mom's one of my critics, and also, very big supporter of me. But she said to me, multiple times, I just don't understand. You've been doing this so long. Why isn't it more profitable? Why haven't you been able to do better? And I keep telling her that I'm reinvesting in my industry and trying to build that longevity. I foresee, like I saw in Colorado, a dramatic dip in wholesale flower prices. And at that time, if you're not prepared to be for that to happen, you're going to be in a lot of problems. And so, with a small facility, a 500 plant count facility, we weren't even running 500 plants. We're probably only running about 250 plants in that facility. We're very dependent on that income. And so if we see a decrease in half or whatnot, it'll literally make it unprofitable. So we saw our longevity, we either could grow and grow more or face those problems of having the wholesale price dip. And so we decided to try to broaden our canopy and grow more plants in the hopes that the more that we grow, the less dramatic the effect will be of the dip in price. And so that was kind of our goal. And so that's what we've kind of done.
Nice.
It's really interesting too to hear like all of the stories are all of you self-funded. I love that, but it sucks how it's taking so long to get your businesses up and running. And the thing of it is people don't understand. They hear cannabis and industry and think all of a sudden it's a moneymaker, and it's like yes and no. I mean, you have to get the ball rolling. It does take a lot, and we're still in the infancy. We just had rec, you know. I mean, come on, mine, and it's just like it boggles my mind how everyone just keeps wanting, especially the state, just wants to tax the heck out of that. And it's like, wait a second, like, let's go back to the drawing board and understand that these are new businesses and we want them to be viable, and let's work together for success.
No, you're 100% right. And I think that, we do have the best law in the country as far as regulation. And we do have the best director in the country. He's very open and makes himself available for us. We've had him on our show. You guys have had him on your show. He's very, very approachable. And the bigger problem, though, is that everybody's treated as an equal. And that's good in some ways and it's bad in others. You know, I am not the company with 100,000 plants in the ground and can afford, you know, all of this extra red tape. I am a small guy that's grinding and clawing his way up. And it becomes very difficult when there are changes that take place that affect the bottom lines and more requirements, or, you know, just any change can be very dramatic on a smaller business than it can be on a big business. You know, if I've got a marketing department and I have an HR department and I have a metric officer, which I get asked all the time, people call me up and say, "Can I speak to your metric officer?" And it's like, "Yeah, you are. You're talking. Oh, well, we want to talk to the grower. Oh, you're talking to him too." You know, we don't have these positions where you know, people can work on it full time and just make it happen. So it does get really challenging for us to be able to survive. But yeah, it's been demoralizing at times. I'm not going to lie. You know, just like my mom gets on my back about, you know, doing more or whatever. And you know, I'm my toughest critic. So I beat myself up pretty hard. And when you struggle, you second guess all your decision making. And so that's challenging. But, you know, as Isaiah can relate, we're both golfers. You go out there, you hit a bad shot, and you have to regain your composure and move forward. If not, you're gonna have a really bad day, and it's gonna cost you a lot in golf balls. You know.
Yeah, and Kevin definitely saw my performance when we played together at the Lemon Haze golf outing on the 23rd of August. We were partners, and he definitely saw my frustration. I'm like, you know what? Just have to go back out there. It took me a couple holes. Had to, you know, get they say the magic number is 2.5, 2.5 of that liquid courage to go out there and keep trying. And I often say, like, hindsight 2020, I can always say what I would do if I was in a situation. But if you could go back 15 years to Kevin Pybus in 06 and give any advice, what would you give yourself?
So in 2007, I took that buyout from Ford, and they gave me 2 years worth of salary up front. And they were like, "Here, you know, go away." And I was like, "Gladly, thank you very much." You know, and then, you know, as a younger guy, I proceeded to then travel over to Europe multiple times and screw off and not really work hard. And next thing you know, I'm like, "Oh boy, I'm kind of getting low on money here," you know. And so in retrospect, I wish I would have been smarter about how I spent that. Reinvested it in what I was trying to do. You know, I think that for me at the time, you know, going back to 06, 07, I mean, it's a terrifying time. I mean, even though I was a medical licensed grower, it still wasn't legal. People were still getting raided by the feds. Depending on what municipality you lived in, people were getting raided. We were often seeing, you know, criminals break into caregivers' homes, rob them. In Aurora, just where I was living at the time, about a mile from my house, you know, some guys broke into somebody's caregiver grow, and the caregiver shot 3 of them dead. And, you know, it's just, you hear this stuff on the news and it's like, it's terrifying. And there were many nights where, you know, I'd hear a noise or something in the middle of the night, and, you know, just anticipation of either the police or somebody coming to rob you, or, you know, you just don't know. And it was a scary time. And, you know, Tom Beller and I have talked a lot about going in front of the board and having PTSD from going in front of the board. But I think that there's definitely some lingering PTSD from just operating in that kind of environment. You know, it's very stressful, but it's also strange too, because I kind of miss those times as well, because I had a lot of fun, you know, doing what I was doing. And there is a little bit of, you know, adrenaline to kind of doing stuff that's kind of gray area. And, you know, so that to me was kind of interesting and fun as well.
That is interesting. I should just have a thought that just escaped my mind.
It happens to the best of us. So, like, at what point did you, you know, fully gain that, like that consistent peace of mind that, you know, you could wake up every morning and just love what you do and fulfill, like, your passion?
Well, I got to be honest with you guys. I still haven't gotten there. You know, when we got through that board, I remember I had all my employees in the room, and we were watching the board meeting. And when they approved us, you know, everybody around me celebrated, and I was kind of in shock. I was a little bit numb about the situation, and people were like, "Well, why aren't you more excited?" And the truth was I saw what was coming. I knew that this was just the beginning. Just because we got a license didn't mean anything. That was just a formality. But the real work now has to start. And the delegation of responsibility and figuring out all the details and the intricacies of how to run a successful big business. I mean, that's not my forte. I didn't go to school for that, and in some senses, I was very, very lucky to have been able to open up in 2015 and operate and kind of grow into this position and learn a lot of stuff in a longer period of time. Whereas I don't think if you were trying to get into industry today and we're trying to just jump in, you just don't have the time to learn and make the connections and the networking and all those things that you need to do. It's a very big challenge, and luckily for me, I had a lot of time to be able to kind of learn some of that stuff. But there is a little bit of relief. I mean, I know I'm not going to get my doors kicked in by the police, but I still have issues. I've been broken into 4 or 5 times. The last time they drove a truck through the side of my building. It cost about $50,000 in damage. And they stole, 15 immature plants that were valued at literally zero. And when the truck broke down that they drove through the building with, a few miles down the block, they just abandoned the stuff that they had stole. So just completely pointless. But those are, the alarms go off at my house at 2, 3 in the morning, and I race to Lansing because I live 45 minutes from here. I race to Lansing to come in and not know what's happening. One time I had about $40,000 in flour stolen from me when they broke in. This time I'm driving up here the whole way up here thinking to myself, how much did they get? How bad is this going to be? And to get up there and see you got a gaping hole in the building. And they had damaged, one of the flouring rooms and ripped the trellis all down, and everything was just a mess. It's very disheartening. You know what I mean? So, really, I don't feel like I've gotten there yet, but I'm working towards it. And, I'm hoping that one day that I'll be able to feel comfortable about the whole situation.
Well, and so what I was going to say before is all of our members so far are small businesses. Mm-hmm. And it's understanding that you're just like everyone else in the community. You're a family man, you're married, you have a small business. You happen to find a modality, and it happened to be cannabis, that addressed your pain and your issues. And it was from a medical professional that recommended you take it. And it's so crazy to me how when we go into different cities and municipalities and how they want to tear us down and break us down and say that we're not citizens. And it's like, wait a second, we are the same as you. We're no different. We just happen to have another avenue, for healing. And that is your passion. You're wanting to share that. And I commend you on that, because it's really hard to go against the grain and to stand up for yourself and say, no, this is working. And by the way, I'm going to share it with the world.
Yeah, of course. And that has been very difficult over the years, especially working on the legislative side and trying to lobby municipalities and trying to change overall general perception of cannabis. It has been difficult at times, but I'll tell you, it has gotten umpteen times better. It seems like when I would talk to people in the past about it, they'd kind of just, whatever, you kind of look at them like, we get comments from some people that thought that I was just trying to make a quick buck, or that this was just easy money. You're going to cheat the system type of thing, and now it's no matter who I talk to, it's like somebody knows somebody that they've a relative or an aunt or an uncle or a wife or a daughter that has had some kind of condition that marijuana or CBD or, any of the other products has seemed to help. And so that's really, really changed perception big time. So that's exciting.
It is exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah. And it's awesome because, me, I'm young, kind of new to industry. And, I see people in your position. I'm like, wow, it must be pretty cool to, be like Kevin or any other business owner, but to know that, there's still everyday issues that we all go through, and that, just because you're where you're at doesn't mean that the journey's done, and that there's still a long way to go in any, sphere of work, political activism or just, daily operations. So it's nice to know. Have a light show.
Yeah, I always say that we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, and there is a whole generation of people that propped us up that we didn't even know about, that were more or less black market cannabis growers and dealers, from back in the day that literally had no grow store to go to. They would figure out their recipes from, going to the granary or going to Home Depot and finding parts and building up their whole situation and doing it discreetly and under the cover of darkness and with tarps over their soil in the bed of their truck so people didn't know, and like all that's super cool, and I feel incredibly gracious to be able to have followed them and had their our path kind of chiseled out a little bit so that we could figure out how to navigate. And I think I think you bring up a great point, Isaiah. One of the challenges we're going to have, and I think that we're doing a pretty good job of doing it right now, and that is getting the young people involved and get them interested in the movement, because they don't know about the struggle, so to speak. You know what I mean? They're not firsthand involved in that, and so I want somebody to stand on my shoulders and take over the football and run it forward. When I'm getting to the point where I don't have the energy to continue to do it anymore, so I'm excited to see that next generation, see that passion develop, and hopefully we can get some people to carry the ball and continue it on, because if we let up on this, the powers that be are going to do whatever they want, and it won't be inclusive, and it'll just be another corporate scheme that we'll never see any money from, and we'll just be back to square one. So yeah, very good point, Isaiah.
I like how our locals are keeping Michigan strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I also like how that specific issue you got behind you, the MiCIA magazine, and the redemption issue. And we do know that you got the podcast at 3. Beyond hosting the podcast, what other roles do you play in the Redemption brand?
So I'm on the board of the Redemption brand, and so I have a direct say in kind of where we spend funding, and we've donated money to the Last Prisoner Project and helped get some attention to people that have been negatively affected on the war on drugs. So that's been great. We use that platform, the Smoking Broke podcast, to try to connect, people that are working in the industry, but also to touch with people outside the industry. We've worked with Josie Scroggins with the Great Lakes Expungement Network to try to get the word out about expungement. I've been working with her to get my cases expunged. I am a social equity applicant, was approved here in Michigan because of my past and having been negatively affected by the war on drugs. And so we're working with Barton Morris right now to get my 2 marijuana cases taken off my record permanently. So those are some of the things that we've been working on. And there is a requirement, if you're a adult use purveyor, that you do participate in the social equity program and have a plan in place. And so it met my requirement, but at the same time, I got to work with a really good friend of mine. In fact, a few good friends of mine, because they're also partners on the Redemption thing with Tom Beller and Drew Driver. And now we've got the guys from Rare and Luxury Loud, and we're starting to build this thing, and it's exciting because we're going to be able to give back and support some of the people that have been overlooked over the years. So it's really cool. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
Thank
you so much for joining us. But before we go, we want to talk to you a little bit about the conference.
Yeah.
How was it? Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a great time. The conference for me is I haven't been able to go on vacation for the last few years, just being overly busy and being relied upon to take care of stuff around here. But I always break away for the conference, the summer annual. And Robin has given me the honor to be able to organize the golf portion and get the prizes together, which is always super fun for me, being an avid golfer. She gives me a huge budget and says, hey, go buy whatever you want. And it's just like a kid in a candy store, and so I get all the stuff that I want, and everybody seems to be super happy with the way it's gone. And it's turned into a kind of a focal point of the time that we're up there. And I'm glad to be a part of it. We got the Chronic Cup that we've handed out the last couple of years with 2 different winners. And so, yeah, super cool. I have a great time up there, and the one thing that is also quite often overlooked is the networking. You get to sit at a table with multiple people that are already operating in the industry, whether it's licensed businesses or ancillary businesses, and then there's also the breakout sessions that we have where we talk with insurance companies and accounting firms and all kinds of different things. And so I think truly anybody, I've been a member since day one with MiCIA, and I think that anybody that's up and coming or trying to be a part of the industry, it's an absolutely wonderful way to get involved on the legislative side. and then also, business wise, it's a great place to start to try to develop relationships with brands and different people working in the industry. So it's been great.
Absolutely. And I think for us too, one of the more rewarding things is to hear, how all of a sudden best friendships are made, and now you're collaborating on a business, and that's really neat to see those those relationships, just flourish, and it's awesome to see and be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, how would you connect if you were a Detroit business owner? How would you connect with somebody that has a cultivation facility in Kalkaska, or how would you connect with a dispensary in the UP, or how would you do that without a trade group like the MiCIA? And it's always supported my values, like you said, small business and inclusivity, and I think that we talked about it, you and I, on our show last week, about us being a family. And we are a family with the smaller group of people that are involved with the MiCIA and with Redemption. But we also have the big family of all of the MiCIA members, and it's been great. There's never any kind of issues. No, everybody gets along well, and I think it's awesome. We get some House reps and some senators up there. We get the director up there. I mean, it's great stuff. If you've never been, you got to go.
I hear next year we might have 2 golf teams.
Yeah.
Or two tournaments. I'm sorry.
2 courses.
Two
courses.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out those details. There's some things that we can do to kind of condense things a little bit too. So I'll be talking to Robin about that. And I know Russ Chambers has been interested in getting involved. And, Russ and I have talked about doing an MiCIA golf outing, a fundraiser. I've talked to Robin about it, and we might kick that off next year. We'll see. But I'd like to do something, towards the early part of summer where we can generate some revenue for a good cause. We haven't determined what that'll be, but it's something that I'm excited to explore as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and we appreciate you coming on at the last second and clearing your schedule for us and all of our technical difficulties.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Patience.
Yeah.
Something I got to learn from you.
Yeah, you know what? Golf will help. Will help, Isaiah. You play enough of it, you're going to hit a bunch of shitty shots, and you're going to have to figure out a way to keep moving forward. So you're on the right track, buddy.
Yeah, so. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Ida, it was good seeing you, and I appreciate you guys having me on the show today.
Awesome. Yep. Take care.
And please tune into Smoke and Rope podcast at 3.
Yes. Right.
We're actually not doing it today. We'll be doing it on Friday. It got postponed. So Friday at noon. I think
at noon.
Or at 10?
Friday. Hold on one second. Let's see. Friday at 12:30.
12:30.
12:30, and that'll be on the Facebook Live, and then we do it on Spotify and Podbeam and all that good stuff. So
nice.
Awesome. Sure.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it, guys. You guys have a wonderful day, and like I said, it was good talking to you, and we'll see you guys soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Right. Take care.
All right, you too. All right. So for next week, we are going to be interviewing.
Yes. Next week, we're going to have Aaron Smith of the NCIA, the executive director, coming on for a virtual interview. Please tune in.
Yeah, because on the 22nd and 23rd is the NCIA Detroit conference.
Their Midwest conference. And of course, you heard last week, we will be hosting the official after hours networking session at Trust Lounge Cocktail Hour.
Yeah.
And starting at 7 o'clock.
7 to 10, I believe.
Should be a good time.
7 to 10. And then before we go, we want to give a shout out to North Coast Testing Lab. I was fortunate enough to go out there and visit that lab yesterday. It was my first lab. I loved it. I love when they geek out on me because I don't understand any of it really, but it's like, keep talking because it's so cool to see and hear, and I love it. So you guys are rocking it out there. I appreciate everything and for having me out there and showing me around. But we're going to give a shout out to North Coast Testing Labs. They are a full service ISO 17025 accredited cannabis safety compliance facility. May have pronounced that wrong, focused on providing precise analytical testing results and guaranteed turnaround times. Made up of a team of industrial leading scientists possessing an in-depth knowledge of cannabis and cannabis-derived products. North Coast has combined cutting-edge technologies, principled laboratory practices, and unparalleled customer service to bring you the most reliable analytical results possible. So if you're interested in a testing lab, check out North Coast.
All right. And thank you guys. Tune in next week.
Take care and have an awesome week. Bye.